Show your friends you support independent comics while showing the world who you back in the fight against the swarm with the brand new Cyberfrog t-shirt from Crypto Fashion and Comic Artist Pro Secret. Sizes come in small to 5XL, and take your choice of colors between navy blue, white, and black. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and order the Fandom Menace, Go Get Daddy's Belt, Tico, and Soilo t-shirts as well. Link is below in the description. You're going to look great. People love these shirts. They fit wonderfully. Thank you very much. We did warn you, right?
Hello. Start this gangsta shit. Mr. Hunter, thanks, I'm good. Hello. I started this gangsta shit.
Hey, good morning out there. Rise and shout. Welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. Thank you very much for being here. My name is Ethan Van Sciver. I am a comic book artist, and I have been for 25 years. I am the creator behind the Smash Indiegogo campaign hit, Cyberfrog Blood Honey. If you would like to back Cyberfrog Blood Honey and get a copy of the book for yourself, the link will be below in the description. I'd certainly appreciate you. I am also the illustrator of Jordan B. Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, a book that taught a million people how to make their beds, so that's a good thing. And also, I am still a great big Star Wars fan, and that's why this headline, cuts me to the quick. Soilo, a soy war story, will lose $50 million plus dollars, not cents, not anything else, not other Mexican pesos, $50 million American dollars plus, in first defeat for Disney's Star Wars empire. My goodness, look at this face here. Where did I put that $50 million? Pretty sure it was in my pocket when I left the house. And you know where that $50 million went? And yeah, you better believe L337 knows where that $50 million went. It went right down the drain the minute John Kasdan started opening his mouth about these two having a sexual relationship together off screen. It's bizarre. You can't bring your kids to that. You can't bring your kids to come see that, and kids need to come see Star Wars. So I think a lot of people with families decided to stay home. Those who saw this movie said, oh, it's great, and then only watched it once. This is bizarre for a Star Wars film, and it does kind of hurts to see. I like to see Star Wars succeed. Even my gosh, even The Force Awakens, I was happy to see that made a lot of money. Last Jedi, I missed the first time around. I ended up seeing it on pay-per-view cable when it came out. I was devastated to learn that had made money. However, this I would have liked to have seen pull out somehow, but you couldn't save it. We kept telling them to be quiet. They couldn't be quiet. They ruined this movie, and that is the way it went. I mean, this movie was doomed to failure, and I don't know what to say. Let's read this obituary here. Oh my God. Look at this. Putting the bitch in obituary. Lucasfilm standalone Han Solo origin pick is faltering at the global box office, where it is expected to top out in the $400 million range. That is sad. To borrow one, but that's a lot of money. To borrow one of Han Solo's lines from Star Wars: The Force Awakens, quote, "That's not how the Force works." No, that isn't how the Force works. The Force is male. It's not female, as it turns out. Financially, the Force is male. It's an apt way to sum up the troubled performance of Solo, a Star Wars story, and one of the biggest box office surprises in recent times. Not to us. Solo is badly underperforming and will become the first Star Wars movies made by Disney, the first of the Star Wars movies made by Disney and Lucasfilm to lose money. That means that there will be many more. There will be many more Star Wars films made by Disney and Lucasfilm to lose money. There will, until they change course. Or maybe not. Maybe there's nothing they can do. You know what I mean? Maybe there's just nothing they can do. Maybe this was a George Lucas joint, and only George Lucas can do this, and everyone else just irritates people. I think that is also a possibility. As I scan Twitter and look at the weirdos defending this movie, I can see that it has become a cause celeb for whack jobs, and it might be that normal people don't want to see what these people have to produce. That is a possibility. That is definitely a possibility. There's only so much soy intake in a normal person's diet. They can't tolerate this. Wall Street analyst Barton Crockett says Solo will lose more than $50 million. Industry financing sources, here comes the truth, however, say that figure could come in at $80 million or higher. And I think it's going to be even higher than $80 million. I think we're looking at about $120 million. Although nobody knows the exact terms of Disney's deals for home entertainment and television, among other ancillary revenues. Well, toys would have helped. But, the interesting thing is the toys weren't even promoting the movie. None of these toys, they knew this was going to happen. I've said over and over again, it's like I bought Solo action figures, the 3 3/4 line for Force Link 2, which does not work. Force Link 2.0 does not work. And they never even said, it didn't say Solo, a Star Wars story on the box. It just said Star Wars, and the lettering was yellow. And they had a few, mixed, scattered, Solo characters in there with other characters that had nothing to do with the movie, like Kylo Ren. Very, very strange. Very strange that they didn't even push this. They didn't even push it. It's not as though the action figures were selling anyway. I mean, it's not as though they said, well, if we put Solo on these, they're not going to sell ever. I mean, no, they weren't selling anyway. So why not take a chance? No, they didn't take a chance. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's a good thing. Solo, directed by Ron Howard. Poor Ron Howard. Ron, you came in here, you fixed a terribly weird situation. I read a whole article in Variety about the truth behind what was going on with Lord and Miller, and it seems like they actually didn't know what they were doing. Rather than just making a comedy, they got the script from John Kasdan and had no idea how to direct that film. They had no idea what to do with this script. And that's why they started turning it into a comedy. Evidently, they inspired zero confidence from anyone on the set, except for Alden Ehrenreich. Alden Ehrenreich loved him. I think that he felt that they were letting him spread his wings and breathe free and be a real actor. Everyone else on the set felt a sense of chaos. And even though these guys spent they spent $250 million and finished what would have been 85% of the movie, it was just deemed to be out of control. And Ron Howard came in and found most of the material unusable and had to reshoot all of it. I mean, reshoot virtually all of it. I think they said 75% of the film was reshot by Ron Howard. So the movie was chaotic. The movie was a disaster. Obviously, people need to be fired. We'll get into that at the end. It isn't gonna gross more than $400 million globally against a budget of at least $250 and a major multi-million-dollar marketing spend. This figure is not accurate. This figure is the budget before Ron Howard came in, from what I understand. Ron Howard added to this budget by several, perhaps $150 million. So they're not talking about that too much. They are trying to cover their wound. And that's fine, maybe they should. The movie lost major altitude in its second weekend of play. I know. To finish Sunday with a domestic total of $148.9 million and a global cumulative total, is that what that? Of $264.2 million. Until now, Disney and Lucasfilm appeared unstoppable, but then they met the fandom menace. They ran headlong into the fandom menace. Also their own incompetence. And also Kathleen Kennedy. Yeah. What are you going to do? Are you going to fire Kathleen Kennedy at this point? Are you going to do that? No, you're not going to do that. You're going to double down. Watch. I mean, if Kathleen Kennedy hasn't already been fired, and part of me thinks that she has. In fact, I do think I'm gonna double down on that. I think Kathleen Kennedy has probably already been fired. But if she hasn't, the only reason she's sticking around is because of the SJW tendency to double down on mistakes. Oh, you didn't like this? Oh, well, we're going to give you a little bit more of it. Screw you. Until they just sort of fail their way into the side of a mountain. And I hope that's not what happens here. They do need to kind of listen and realize that the source of this chaos, of this incompetence, stems from Kathleen Kennedy. Force Awakens benefited mightily from a pent-up demand. It sure did. Earned $2.068 billion globally to rank as the number 3 title of all time, not adjusted for inflation. The standalone title Rogue One, a Star Wars story, flew to $1.056 billion, while Star Wars: The Last Jedi grossed $1.332 billion. Since expectations for any film in the Star Wars franchise are sizable, no one expected Solo to fly so low. Can you imagine that? Yeah, this is Rogue One. Remember, I told you about the graph. These are two different. We have two different graphs going on. These are not, equal movies. We have the main trilogy that's going on, the main story arc, Force Awakens, and then we have The Last Jedi. So Force Awakens earned $2 billion and change, and Last Jedi, it's a downward slope, 1.3 billion. Okay, the next movie, Episode 9, will come in at maybe 1 billion. It's going to continue to lose money. Rogue One, this is even more dire. I mean, it earned 1 billion and change, and then for Solo to earn 400 million, that is quite a slope. That is quite a degradation there. Terrible. Absolutely. This is alarming. This alarm bell should be firing. I don't know whose job is worth this. I don't know whose life is worth this, honestly. I don't know if someone is responsible for losing that kind of money. I mean, I lost a $50 bill once. Oh, no, the worst thing ever. I was in Canada doing a comic book convention. I had $800 Canadian money in my pocket that somebody bought some artwork. It fell out of my pants pocket. I was at the exchange at the airport trying to make it into real money, American money, and it was gone. It fell out, and I just thought to myself, oh my God, there's a real sense of loss. Like, I can't believe 800 Canadian dollars fell out of my pocket. I just hope somebody who needed it for their rent or something like that is the one who found it. You comfort yourself with thoughts like this. I don't think there's any comfort for losing this kind of money. I don't think there's any comfort in being the first creative team to lose, to hand Star Wars its first actual financial bomb. I can't imagine that. That doesn't feel good. That can't feel good. Quote, this marks a tough return to a movie reality for a Disney that had in recent years enjoyed a can't-miss mystique. And then they met Kathleen Kennedy. In his own note to investors, analyst Doug Kreutz of Cohen and Company pins the blame on a lackluster marketing campaign rather than the franchise fatigue. Well, don't blame it on this. The marketing campaign was fine. It was everywhere. Everyone knew the movie came out. Blame Kathleen Kennedy. Blame Kathleen Kennedy, not for the marketing campaign. Everybody did their job. Kathleen Kennedy was completely off the rails when she hired Lord and Miller. Did not know what they were doing. Had no idea who she was employing. They made a movie that she was not satisfied with, spent way too much money. They had to, once again, Kathleen Kennedy was forced to publicly fire directors. This is like the 5th time she's had to do that. The 5th time she's had to do that. And then they had to bring in Ron Howard to repair the movie. There was a real sense of incompetence. It was just chaos all around. And one person is to blame for that, and she does need to lose her job. It has nothing to do with franchise fatigue. We will go see any Star Wars movie you want to make. I mean, as long as it isn't a piece of garbage. And then you had Jon Kasdan with his ridiculous SJW, far leftist, sexual deviancy propaganda comments. I mean, you got to be joking. Nobody wants to hear about Lando Calrissian having sexual relationships with a robot or other aliens. They don't want to hear about it. Keep your weirdo fantasies back in your Hollywood bungalow. We are trying to be normal people here in the rest of the world, and you probably cost this film whatever it lost. I mean, those comments alone, this film might have broken even were it not for Jon Kasdan, son of Lawrence Kasdan. By the way, Lawrence Kasdan, I've got a shirt for you. It says "Get Daddy's Belt." Go get Daddy's belt. That should be advice for you. That should be wisdom that you should take on from here on. Is it too late, Lawrence Kasdan? Is it too late to discipline your son? Somebody has to. Somebody has to discipline your son so that he doesn't lose Walt Disney $100 million. That is on you. That is on you. Disney can withstand any loss and isn't expected to take a write-down for the Solo shortfall. No, not. Of course not. It had Avengers. It had Black Panther. They've generated hundreds of millions of dollars. Their theme park can absorb these losses, but why? Why do they need to absorb losses when it comes to making Star Wars films? At what point do you realize that Star Wars is huge and should be making buckets of money for you, not losing buckets of money for you? And of course, Disney's next film, Pixar's Incredibles 2, is going to do great. It's tipped to be one of the biggest films of the summer. I saw the trailer for it. It looks amazing. I will go see it. But yeah, guys, this is Star Wars. Let's not just turn our backs on Star Wars just yet. Let's fire everyone involved. Everyone, just fire everyone. Head should roll. Head should roll. I mean, I saw a cartoon where there was a guillotine, and like on right on the side of the guillotine was a slope going downwards, and then a set of bowling pins down there. Make a game out of this, Disney. Try to get a strike. Chop off all of these heads. Let's see if we can, get that 9-10 split. Is it a 9-10 split? What is the split that we want to get? Yeah, go do it. Get rid of these people, all of them. And look at this. Look at this sadness. This is forever. These images are forever going to be reminiscent of catastrophe and failure. I mean, it's like Battlefield Earth. It's like looking at a frame from Battlefield Earth. That is sad. That is sad. So let's just a moment of silence for Solo and its complete and utter box office failure, the first Star Wars film to ever lose money. Let's just take a moment of silence, and that's done. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining me, and I will see you again a little bit later on today with another video. Check and see if you're still subscribed, by the way. Are you still subscribed? If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. We want you in our community. Click thumbs up if you like this video. Share this video. I love and appreciate you all. Thank you very much. Hello, potential Indiegogo backers. Hello, friends. My name is Ethan Van Sciver. I'm a comic book creator who worked for 20 years for Marvel and DC Comics on books like Green Lantern, Flash, Superman, Batman, and X-Men. But before that, I had a comic book called Cyberfrog. Now, Cyberfrog lasted from 1993 to 1998, and then it stopped when I went to go work for DC Comics. Now I want to tell the story of where Cyberfrog has been for the last 20 years. I want to write, pencil, ink a book called Cyberfrog Blood Honey that tells the story of gigantic alien hornets that come to Earth and conquer it, sending Cyberfrog into deep hibernation, where he emerges now in the year 2018 into a completely alternate reality, a new world where these hornets have taken over, devastated humanity, using human skin to make gigantic wasp hives, and harvesting human blood to make honey to feed their young. Very few humans still exist. But it's up to Cyberfrog to save what's left of humanity and turn back the damage that's been done by these wasps with his brother Salamandroid and his friend Heather Swain. I want you to help me do this. We're going to get colors by Kyle Ritter. He's a fantastic colorist, and he's going to make this book sing. I'd like this to be a 48-page one-shot prestige format, part 1 of 4. So I'm asking you to help me launch the very first Cyberfrog Blood Honey epic graphic novel. Are you in? Will you help me? I hope so. Let's get this frog jumping again. Big thank you to everyone who supports this channel. Click like if you like this video. Subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this content. Make sure that you're still subscribed if you subscribed before. YouTube keeps unsubscribing people without their permission. Click the bell for notifications. Thank you for the people who buy my t-shirts. Do appreciate you. Thank you for people who are supporting the Cyberfrog Blood Honey Indiegogo. Thanks to people who have pledged to my Patreon. These are your names scrolling up the screen. We're going to make a new thank you screen probably tomorrow. And I want to thank everyone who sends me super chats during my live streams, attends my live streams. The channel just keeps growing and growing, and I owe it all to you. I wake up every day with joy and gratitude in my heart. Thanks.